Hey everybody, happy Tuesday. I have a kind of fun little topic today. Resveratrol, is it a miracle compound or just a myth? And I swear, it is kind of like what day of the week it is, what year it is, is it sunrise, sunset, depending on what article you're going to read. Resveratrol is the compound to save the human race, and it is also wonky, all myth. So this is what we're going to talk about today in terms of what is a little bit of the science behind resveratrol. So let's start with what it looks like. Here it is. Got to get a little geeky there a bit, all right? So resveratrol is actually a polyphenolic compound, and it is known as a stilbene. And these compounds are found in a variety of plants, and in the plants, they actually help aid the plant in stressful situations. If they get injured, they also help it avoid fungal infection, and the probably most important thing for us humans is really the UV radiation. So with the knowledge that these plants hold this resveratrol and it is beneficial to them, it is no wonder that scientists were going to start delving into it to look at it in order to help us. So this compound here is actually what is known as a fat-soluble compound. And very quickly, what this means is that it doesn't have a charge, and these fat-soluble compounds, other ones that you're familiar with, vitamins A, D, E, K, what this means is that you can actually store them in your body, and you don't need to use them right away. So they either get stored in your liver or in your adipose tissue, in your fatty tissues. So this is great because we can store it in our bodies and use it when we need it, okay? And this is what is one of the positives of resveratrol. However, the negative of resveratrol, or I should say negative of fat-soluble compounds, is that because it gets stored in our body, we can actually OD on it. So yes, you can OD on vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K. These things get stored up in your body and they can actually lead to toxicity. Now, on the opposite side of the spectrum, we have water-soluble compounds, and these act differently in the body. So instead of reserving them in our system, our body is going to absorb them, goes into our bloodstream, and then it is immediately being used by our tissues as soon as we get them in our system. The difference is that you either have to use them or lose them. So like vitamin B or vitamin C, they're going to dissolve in water. They get used immediately, and any amount that is higher than what we actually need is going to be eliminated in our urine. So you're not going to OD on them. So you can keep popping those vitamin C pills, right? And you can keep popping them and say, oh yes, it's going to make me feel better. But the more vitamin C you are popping, you're pretty much just peeing it out because your system can only use so much and then it goes away, okay? So if we go back to resveratrol, okay, it can be found in a bunch of other foods, okay? So they are found in apples, blueberries, plums, peanuts, okay? And it was in the early 1990s when scientists discovered that resveratrol was actually found in red wine. So it was a great day for wine lovers. Woohoo! Resveratrol's in red wine. We can drink wine and save us. And it is the end of us being sick and everything. So scientists believed that the resveratrol was responsible for this mostly because of what we know as the French paradox. So the French paradox is the fact that the French population have very low incidence of coronary heart disease in France, even though they kind of have a high-fat diet, right? So from there, they just pretty much went, all right, let's start looking at the potential of resveratrol to prevent cancer and neurodegenerative diseases. Now, here comes the yin and the yang of this, okay? So according to an article in Food Science Nutrition, it's titled Resveratrol, a miraculous natural compound for diseases treatment. Okay, this is by a scientist, Meti Kushki et al. And what they found in their study was that several in vitro and in vivo studies have revealed the effectiveness of resveratrol in various diseases, such as diabetes mellitus, cardiovascular disease, neurodegenerative, and all of these age-related diseases. They found this, but they then countered it by saying, but we think there needs to be more research is done because there's not enough on the human trials or clinical actual trials. So now on the flip side of the coin, here's a JAMA, okay, so Journal of Medical Internal Medicine. This was published by Johns Hopkins University, and they actually analyzed about 800 men and women, all around ages 65 or older, and these people's diets were naturally rich in resveratrol. So they didn't add anything. Remember, we can get this through other by natural foods, okay? And they measured the amounts of metabolized resveratrol that showed up in the participants' urine and expected to see high levels in the healthiest people. But that didn't happen, okay? So in fact, there was no link found between resveratrol levels and the rates of heart disease, cancer, or death. So we have research basically proving both sides of the spectrum. And some scientists were finding that it is showing positiveness, and others we are showing that there's not. So I personally think that, the ones that are really showing the positiveness, we're not really doing that in human beings. We're seeing them really in mice, okay, or in rodents, which is what most of this research is being done on. So is it a miracle compound? Is it a myth? Okay, it really does need more research, okay? And so what it looks like to me is that there is a lot of potential. We really can do this. I am concerned about the fact that it is a fat-soluble compound and the fact that you can build up too much of it, which then I'm going to leave you with this last research study, okay? So according to Dr. David Sinclair, so he is a professor of genetics at the Harvard Medical School, he led an experiment in early 2000s that concluded that yes, resveratrol does indeed prevent skin cancer in mice. It protects against high blood pressure, heart failure, and heart disease in mice. And they also showed that it improves insulin sensitivity and reduces blood sugar and blunt obesity in rodents. So he's proving it's working in these, lower life forms, right? But then he said this, and I love it. But the dose of resveratrol administered in experiments is always much higher than you would normally consume in a daily diet. He deducted that you would need to drink 100 to 1,000 glasses of red wine to equal the doses that were used to improve mice. So I don't know, who's up for another glass of red wine? If you have any questions, please let me know. Have a great week. Like, share, save, all that good stuff. Head to Paso Robles, downtown. Come visit us. Schedule a tasting appointment on our website so that you can go through our entire lineup. And I hope to see you in the tasting room online. Remember, the online store is open 24/7. And I will talk to you next week. Have a great one. Slancha.